Hey family, what's going on? Klaus here, and welcome to our brand new strategy series. Yes, that's right guys, I love strategy games, I love games that make me think, and I thought the best way to start a strategy series, which will be every single Tuesday and Thursday here on the channel, we should start with my very favorite game of all time. That's right guys, we have Rome Total War. Yes, it may be a 20-year-old game, but it has aged very well in what it may lack in high definition graphics, which by the way are still very nice and were extremely nice for their time. It makes up for in just a sheer wonderful gaming experience, and it made up for all that by also taking into consideration all the little things, okay? I think that Rome Total War is the best game in history, and I also think that it's the best strategy game and the most fun game to play. I think very highly of Rome Total War. In fact, I think I played this game, Rome Total War, more in my childhood than any other game, probably all of them combined. Thousands of hours were poured into this game. I absolutely loved it. I was a little bit too young to understand all the strategy stuff, but I definitely enjoyed it, and it's going to be an absolute blast to play for you guys here today. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to go into a single player and play an Imperial campaign, and here we are. Now I do have a little, I can turn off my face cam so you guys can see everything here. So what we're going to be playing is an Imperial campaign. Now we have three choices. We can play either as the House of the Julii, the House of the Brutii, or the House of the Scipii. Now of course we're going to be playing as the Brutii. There's a million reasons why. I will explain that in the game. We also have no advanced or no advice. I'm going to be playing on hard difficulty. There is a very hard difficulty, which of course is more difficult, but it seems like the game cheats, and I don't like that. So I like to make it to where it's, you know, it's fair, everybody's treated equally, but it's not letting me win. So I think hard is actually the best for that. We're going to avoid arcade style battles because it just changes the way the game feels, but we do want to be able to manage all settlements. It turns out that if you uncheck that, then if you don't have a general, which is a member of the royal family, in a city, then it manages it automatically and doesn't let you do anything, and I don't like that at all. So we're definitely going to want to be able to manage everything. We're going to follow AI characters, that way we can watch what's going on around us, and then of course we're going to turn off the battle time limit in case we have a really big battle and we need to actually we need to take our time and do it really well. So back to the face cam. What's up guys? So guys, Rome Total War is essentially the computer version of Risk. Of course, you don't have the entire world. You actually have just Europe and Northern Africa and the Middle East and parts of Asia, and Asia Minor especially. But this game is amazing because it's not just about moving around troops and conquering the world by rolling some dice. It is actual micromanagement of your troops, of the cities, of the generals. The generals have personalities. They've got attributes. I mean, it is just an amazing game, and definitely one that makes me think, and that is why I love strategy games. Also, hey, heads up, this game's actually available on mobile. I think it's mobile. I have it on my iPad. I don't know if it's available on the phone, but it's definitely available on the iPad, so definitely check it out if you have a mobile device. You do have to pay for it. I think it's like 10 bucks or something. It's actually cheaper. It was cheaper for me to buy this on Steam for the PC. So if you have a PC and you want to play along, get it. Let's go. All right, so I'm going to turn my face cam back off, and let's enjoy the quick cutscene for the House of the Brutii.
We Brutii are the only true Romans. We saved Rome. We drove out the kings. We made the Republic. The family deserve respect for that. Respect and obedience. We know what is best for Rome. New lands, living space, territory, slaves. I know what must be done. The Greeks, they look down their perfumed noses at all Romans, and they hate us. I'm going to give them a reason for hate. When I've crushed them. Roman steel, that's the answer. Roman steel in the Brutii fist. And the other great Roman families. The Scipii, trash. They have no respect for proper Roman ways. For us, the Julii prostitute themselves as if the people matter. We Brutii must lead Rome.
My goodness. Okay, so they definitely feel like they are the superior race, and that always seems to start big but end terribly. But we'll see how this goes as we are in charge, not that guy who was doing the talking in the cutscene. So guys, this is Rome Total War, and as you can see, the Senate has given us a mission. We'll take a look at this right now. They want us to take Apollonia, which is on the western coast of Greece, so a natural expansion for the Brutae. So I'm going just to get rid of that. And this, my friends, you probably recognize this as Italy, or Rome, the Roman Empire. Now, this game splits up Rome into 3 major families, and then, of course, Rome itself. So we'll look at Rome. Rome is actually the Senate, and in this game, and this is not historically accurate at all, but in this game, you actually have the Romans who are just the SPQR. They just kind of hang out around the city and protect Rome. And sure, protect Rome. That's a good thing. We don't want Rome to get sacked or anything, but really that's all they do. We also have the 3 different factions, which we've already listed. We have the Romans Julii, who are generally in charge of going up north, taking up the modern day, or the proto-French, the Gauls, and of course we have the Germanians and the British and all that up there too. Their job is to go north and to the west, probably end up somewhere around here, and actually, you know, maybe take over a little bit of Spain, but they'll end up probably stopping right about here, and then, you know, they may expand out to the east. But that is the Romans Julii. They're kind of boring because you do end up just fighting barbarians most of the time. I definitely prefer the Brutii for one of those reasons, which we'll get into here in a moment. The second family is the Scipii, the blue team, and their job is to essentially take over Sicily, because as you can see, it's split up into 3 different provinces. And you definitely, it's tough to be the Scipio, because you have to take on either the Greeks or the Carthaginians, which are chilling right here in that city. And then, of course, they're going to naturally progress to northern Africa, take on Carthage, take on the Numidians, which are further to the west. Or if you continue along this path, you'll end up in Egypt. Yes, Egypt. That's a tough challenge, because the Egyptians are very, very powerful in this game. So they have a pretty good challenge as well. They're just not quite as fun as the Brutii. And yes, this is my little village here. There's 2 villages. We own 2 cities right now, and we've been asked to take on Apollonia. Apollonia being right here on the right-hand side of modern-day Greece. So we, you know, we're gonna do that because it's a great decision to expand over. But check this out. Okay, so Rome Total War, again, 20 years old, was the very first Total War game in the franchise to use a 3-dimensional map. And so you have to really look at what you're looking at. Like you're seeing, here's some mountains. Troops can't go through mountains. There's also things like rivers. So here's a river right here. You can't cross a river unless you find a pass. Or if they build roads in this settlement, then there becomes a bridge. By the way, bridge battles are terrible if you're attacking and awesome if you're defending. So we definitely want to get ourselves some bridges here in the future. But yeah, so you actually have to pay attention to what you're seeing, and you can move these troops independently across this map and set them in certain places. Strategically wise, like if you want to, like if you have an army here that's trying to get to you, you put your army right there in the mountain pass, and then they can't get around you, and they have to go through you 300 style, like the Greeks and Leonidas and all that stuff from that movie from a long time ago, the Battle of Thermopylae. So anyway, guys, welcome to the Romans Brutii. Now, I did sit here and study the game for a very long time to determine the best location for my face cam, and right here in this spot, if I actually get rid of it, nothing really happens in that spot. I mean, it remains. There's not a lot that ever goes on here. I mean, at the beginning of each turn, these little like notification things drop on right here, and I click them and then they pop up into the middle. So if I'm right here covering this little spot up, then I'm not really covering up anything of value. In fact, if I go into a city, then all the information shows up on the right, but then if I click this little settlement here, it gives me even more detail. But if I bring my face cam back up, I'm really not covering up anything. All the stuff at the top is very important, although there are 3 buttons behind me. Let me get rid of them again. These 3 buttons do things, but they're not super important for you to be able to see those. Obviously, this one you can zoom in on the city if you really look, or view the settlement on the battle map. There you go. So you can actually look and see what your city looks like in the game. You can make your city a capital, which this one's already a capital. Or you can look at even more detail on the trade. And if I bring up my face cam again, I'm just covering up, and get rid of it again. I'm covering up only these little bits of these words. The numbers really are what's most important here. So anyway, I think that this spot is good for my face cam. Hope you guys are okay with this. I like to have a face cam in all of my videos. I'll be studying the videos and just seeing if there's a better spot, but I think after studying the game for a while, this is the best spot for my face cam. So now we need to get into actually getting some things done. And of course, we have not only armies, but we also have diplomats. They run around and they do the talking. They can, you know, create alliances or trade rights, or you can even declare war, I think, with them. I mean, they're pretty amazing. And then, of course, you have the spies, and the spies are awesome for subterfuge. You can go around spying on people's cities, or you can, you know, get information on the enemy generals, or can you assassinate them, which an assassin is something that you can do in the game, though it's not super common, but it is something that you can do. And of course, it also gives you a vision, because right now you can't really see a lot of what's going on in the world. We happen to have eyes on Apollonia because our boat is here, and actually that makes me curious. Yeah, so we have Apollonia, we have a unit of militia hoplites, and notice, by the way, the facecam does not cover up any of the numbers. It does show, looks like you can see all the abilities at a glance, but if I get rid of the facecam, all it does is cover up the description of the unit, and frankly, I never read that. I don't think anybody ever reads that, so it's okay if my face cam is here. So, militia hoplites, these are the troops that they have. If you look, 160 units. I'm actually on huge unit size, so that we have bigger and more epic battles. It's a lot of fun. The attack for a militia hoplite is 5, charge bonus is 2, total defense is 8. So 528. If you look at my basic infantry, and I'll select here, the Hastati, we have 7, 11, and 14. So the Hastati are overall a better troop. However, because these guys are a hoplite, then they work in a super, super tight formation called the phalanx or phalanx, and that is a very strong and kind of scary unit to attack. You have to just get them from behind or from the side, not necessarily engaging them from the front. The other troops are the peltasts, and peltasts throw sticks. 3, 6, and 4. Not a big deal, but you want to try to avoid getting hit by their sticks if you can. So it looks like the army in Apollonia is not too bad, but I do have a lot of troops in this area that need to move along. So let's actually bring over our general. And before we actually move him, let's talk about the generals. The generals are very, very important, guys. Extremely important, because they can determine whether or not your troops are stronger or weaker. All right, and they also can manage a city, and all their statistics matter. So as you can see, this is a family member. If he was like the faction leader, it would say faction leader or family leader, and then it would also say faction heir if he's the one that's going to inherit the throne. In other words, this guy is just a family member. Amulius Brutus, sorry, age 31. He's a Brutus, so he's a progenitor of the original leader of the entire faction, which I'll show you guys here soon. Command is 5 stars. He's actually a very good commander. The maximum is 10. 5 is very good, though. Management is only 2, and influence is 3. So overall he's decent, but it's these traits that make up all of these statistics here. He's a confident commander. He's a natural born leader. He's a political animal, which gives you influence and population or popularity with the Senate. There we go. And then lastly, he's an intelligent person, so that really comes in handy. But what's cool is that when you get a new general, or like in other words, and for us, all intents and purposes right now, this is a new general. We just started the game, so you can see he has nothing innately negative. So he's really an overall good general, and as you do things with him, as you battle with him, or as you manage settlements or whatever, then they actually get better, and they can organically develop more and more traits, and those make them better or worse. So like, for instance, if you were to take over some, city way off in the middle of nowhere, and then just dump them there and never build anything that makes them better, then they'll slowly just get worse and go crazy and become drunk and just they go nuts. So you really do need to keep these guys engaged, and not that you have to babysit them necessarily, but you definitely want to make sure that they're in a good city with what's called an academy. Now I'll just go ahead and show that while we're here. So this is the city information. I already showed you this, but a lot of information here. I won't show it all right now. Essentially, this is how you manage your city. You build stuff and you train troops. There's also taxes, population, income, and of course, everything revolves around money. You really have to have a great economy in Rome Total War in order to be successful. But what I wanted to show you guys was this building browser. This kind of shows you that you have to, in other words, level up your cities in order to be able to build certain buildings. And of course, if you have like a huge city, but you only have the wooden palisade, then you have to first upgrade them to a wooden wall, and then upgrade them to a stone wall, etc., to finally get to an epic stone wall. So what I wanted to look at was the academy, because it's a very, very important building. You can't even have an academy until you have a minor city. And to have a minor city, your population has to be 6,000. Now, you probably saw this, but In like for instance, Croton, which is our secondary city, our population is 4,300. So we're a long ways away from 6,000. So to keep our generals from going nuts. Oh, by the way, this is the leader. It says governor here, but if you go into army and right click here, then it actually shows his. Okay, there it is. Oh, okay. It does not say, it says governor because he's actually in a city, but if you pull him out of the city, let me just pull him out of the city right quick here. There we go. So now it's his faction leader, Tiberius Brutus. He's good commander, not a very good manager, but he's got great influence because people really like him. And he's got a bunch of great traits as well. You start off really nicely, I think, in every single faction. They all get really nice starting generals, and then things generally go downhill really, really fast. But yeah, that's our faction leader, and the 3 generals that we have here are actually his sons. So if we go check out the family tree, and I'm not covering up anything right now, but in the future I will be, actually, with my face cam. But you can see here, Tiberius, our leader, here's his wife, Galla. They had 3 sons, Aulus Brutus, Amulius Brutus, and Vibius Brutus. And actually it shows at the very bottom, and I can't move my mouse because it takes it off, but you can see underneath their name and their age, it actually shows us what they're most known for. So you can see he's best in management, Amulius is best in command, and Aulus is actually best in command as well, which is interesting because his influence is actually higher, so I'm not sure how the game chooses that. The eldest son, Aulus Brutus of the leader, has three children. One's Paulina, she is a daughter, and then Titus and Oppius are both sons, and then it's so on and so on. I love the family tree. It's just kind of cool to be able to keep track of the family. The royal family. Now, of course, generally speaking, this is true actually of the actual Roman, how Rome actually ended up with, is that generally speaking, the direct descendants of the leaders were terrible. Because if you think about it, they were raised with extreme silver spoons, right? They just, they were raised with power, their family has power, they were treated like royalty, so they end up getting spoiled. It's actually the generals that you inherit or adopt into the family that end up generally being better. But I think we've talked about that stuff enough. Let's go and take over Apollonia. So Amulius Brutus has an army right here. If you select him, you see down here, he's actually got Equitae, which are the light cavalry. They will just they'll melt if they get into any kind of real engagement. But because it is cavalry, it gets a great charge bonus, and that is ultimately how you win in Rome Total War. Cavalry charges and projectiles like archers or Velite, which is something we'll also talk about. They throw the sticks. They're not that great, 5, 7, and 7. And generally speaking, numbers above 10 are what you want here. So like 5's half of what you really would want. Missile 7, that's not bad. And the defense is 7 too. So, but they're the projectiles that you get at the beginning. You unlock archers later on. And then you also have the Stati. We've got 2 units of those. But then also we have the family member. The family member has his Roman General Guard. Yes, it's a cavalry unit, super heavy, super beast, 11 attack, 6 charge, and 14 defense. These guys are strong, they will hit extremely hard, and if you charge with them, you're likely to break the enemy units super easily. So we definitely want to take advantage of them without actually losing, because you can actually lose your generals. If they die, you lose them forever. It's a terrible, terrible thing. All right, so guys, let's actually let's go. Let's send them over. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in the boat. Let's actually take the spy and the diplomat, because would you believe the diplomat doesn't need to be used up in this direction. These are all of our allies. We actually would like to go over here and learn a lot about the unknown people on that side. Also, I'm going to bring over, he can't embark in this turn, so I'm going to go ahead and bring over Aulus Brutus. He's going to be useful in the future. Let's grab this unit of Astati out of the Tarentum, and let's grab this unit of Astati out of Croton and move them all over as well, so that everybody's moving. And now it is time to attack Apollonia. So now we have landed. Amulius Brutus has landed in Apollonia. Let's check out what we have here. Now we're lucky. Apollonia has no walls, so we should be able to, yes. Yeah, that image doesn't really represent what's going on. This is just a general picture. We don't have catapults. We don't have ballista. We're not even the red team. We're the green team. And of course, Apollonia doesn't even have walls at all, let alone these massive walls. But this is just kind of a fun little image. But yes, so if, for instance, Apollonia had walls, then we could build siege machines. We'll talk about those later when they become a little bit more relevant. But of course, we could actually just hold the siege. As you can see, the settlement has enough food for 2 turns. Now, a turn represents a season. Now, there's only 2 seasons. So 2 turns equals 1 year. You have the summer and then you have the winter. As you can see down here, this says summer. It's the the big sun, and of course there's no snow around, so this is summer. So you can see that because this is a very besieged settlement, they can last for 2 years on the food that they have. But you can tell that after 2 years, they would starve it out because they can't leave the city. They're being besieged, right? So if they left the city to try to toil the land or, you know, farm or whatever, then they wouldn't be able to because we're there. So this is kind of a cool way to set it up. I think Rome Total War paid attention to the details in allowing them 2 turns because obviously they've already got their fields already done. They've got their food stored up. They're ready for the winter. That would be the 2nd turn. And then the 3rd turn, they would actually run out of food. So let's go in and let's assault and watch this. This is a lot of fun. So information. Yes, and I'm not covering up anything. That little line there says reinforcement 0. But this is my army. Amulius Brutus has 637 men. I think one of those is actually him. So it's 636 plus Amulius Brutus. I may be wrong there. And then Captain Zenodoros. I like it. From the Epiro rebels of Apollonia, 481 men. Now the computer automatically calculates the strength ratio. I have 7 to 2. I'm 7 times stronger than not 7 times stronger. I'm actually 3.5 times stronger than them, essentially. And we have the ability to either fight on the battle map, which is physically control our units, and obviously I think that we're a bit smarter than computer, so I think that we would do a little bit better than they would. But we can also automatically resolve the battle. Let's say it's, you know, 1,000 to 20. We can just automatically resolve the battle, finish it up. It's not worth our time. Or we can withdraw if we decide, you know what, no, they look a little bit stronger than we want to. And then if we right-click their banner, we can once again see their army and determine whether or not we want to do this. We hit the check mark. We're back here, but we're definitely not going to automatically resolve the battle. Generally speaking, the AI, which calculates the winner and the loser, would give us more casualties than we would if we actually physically fought on the battle map. So let's actually hit that and zoom on in here. So remember, we actually approached from the west, and that's important. Make sure you keep that in mind.
Over there stand the rebel slaves. They are braver and more worthy than men of their type have any right to be. So, let your battle cry be victory! Victory and glory to Rome!
Yeah, so that is one of the best things about this game, is the fact that right before a battle, the general will basically give you the synopsis of what's going on. Now, because we just started, there's not a lot of history, and we're just fighting rebels in some small crappy town, he didn't have a lot to say. But it also reflects the personality. So if he is a, really dull speaker, then the speeches are really dull too. Or if he's a really charismatic leader, then his speeches become more and more charismatic. Or, for instance, if he's fought, let's say, the Greeks before, and this is another Greek battle, he'll actually say something along the lines of, I've never lost a battle against the Greeks, and I'm not going to start now. It's just super, super cool, the detail that went into this game. Also notice the sky is clear, looks like a pretty day, so I don't need to necessarily wait, because I can actually wait. I don't actually have to attack today. I can wait a day until the weather's better, but the weather looks fine, so let's go ahead and start. Alright, so now he's saying don't attack until we are ready to attack, but here we go. Here is the city. The battle has not begun. We're actually paused right now, so let's take a look at the scenery. This is the only game of Rome Total War, or the only game of the Total War franchise that pays this much attention to the details. So remember, I said that we approached from the boats to the west. So you can see there that those are the boats way off to the west. And if you look past that, so now I'm at the end of the map here. If you actually look at that little bitty corner dot right there, that is the port of Tarentum. In fact, I think I can raise the, nope, I can't raise the camera. Probably once I start the battle I could. But that is the port to Tarentum, and that is actually the coast of Italy, which is kind of cool because that's, obviously accurate. If you look to the north, you can see some mountain ranges. To the east, mountain ranges as well. And then of course there is the coast over there, little bitty island. And then actually, if you look at the, let me see if I can angle the map. There we go. So there is the mountains. If you actually go that direction and around the corner, there's another Greek city, Termon. Or if you keep going, there's Athens or, Sparta, Corinth, all those amazing cities. I love how accurate this game really is. And then here is the look. Here is a look at the very first rebel town. Very, very nice. I love how it looks very quaint, very simple. There's no walls. You just kind of walk straight up to it. No problem whatsoever. It's just a cute little place. I'm going to go ahead and hit, well, actually, how do I like this lineup? I like this lineup. This lineup's not bad. But before you actually hit start, you can move your troops without really having to think much about it. So let's actually put our troops, let me see. I'm going to put them right here. This is the cavalry. So they're over here prepared for a flanking maneuver, which you will find is the way. It is simply the way. And oh, I just realized I did not buy any mercenaries. Okay, well, we should be fine. We don't really need them for this battle necessarily. This should be a super simple battle. So I think that'll pretty much do it for now. I guess we should probably redraw our line just a bit. So I'm going to get the infantry here. We'll get the velites, the projectiles, and we'll put them in front as more or less a skirmish. And then, of course, we have the Roman general here. So let's start the battle, and let's take a gander. If I click P, I'll pause it, and let's see what they have here. So it looks like we have a unit of the velites. Maybe 2 units. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, because there's 2 flags right there. That means that there are 2 units. But then it looks like they actually have, they saw my cavalry over here, and they don't necessarily like it. So they have put the hoplites over here to either deal with them, or they'll decide, okay, they're not coming, and they're going to go back into the house. So let's actually hit P again and see what they're doing. It looks like they're heading back to the plaza. So this gives me a good opportunity to explain one thing in the battle that's really important, and that is the plaza. Okay, so this is the center of the city. Basically the winning circle. So if you can get your troops into this circle and none of their troops are here, and you hold it for 3 minutes, then you win the game automatically. So obviously they want to protect their plaza. We want to get to the plaza, but generally speaking, my goal is to wipe out every single troop that they have and get them to 0. That's generally my goal. So let's just draw up a little bit differently. So let's pause it. I'm going to draw up, and this is the line, by the way. If you see that little faint brown line, that is the line of the city. So if we're right outside the line, then they don't really register it as that we're in the city necessarily. By the way, if you hold space, you can see where the other troops are going to go, and we can draw them up accordingly. And let me grab the general, and I'm actually going to put him right over here. Very nice. And we don't actually need to make them run or anything. It doesn't look like the enemy is doing anything. They're just kind of fortifying. We don't really need to worry too much about what they're doing. The hoplites, they checked it out. They're like, they're just equitate, no problem. I don't need to worry about them. So that's good. Now my troops are going to slowly make their way across. And actually, if I triple the game speed and keep an eye down there at the mini-map, it doesn't look like anything's going on. So they're going to quickly draw up into position just like so. So now we're back in normal battle mode. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to encroach on their space just a little bit. And actually right here, I'm going to move these across. That way they have a little bit of a better view in case we're able to draw up. Because what I want to do, and this is the real super cautious way to do this, but you want to use some troops to entice some other troops to come and visit. And buddy, why are you so far behind your friends? Get in the line. You are Roman. Have a little bit of pride. Right. Okay, so the it doesn't look like we've convinced them to come say hello. So let's move them up just a little bit further. And if we're lucky, we'll actually draw up the militia hoplites, because basically our velite is going to be able to throw pila, which is their javelins, right into the face of whatever troop they get near. And then also the hastati have 2 pila of their own, and they're very, very powerful. Let's just cheat forward just a little bit further. And let's actually grab these guys and move them up as well, just to be prepared. And basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to convince them to engage, and they are not. They are not engaging. Oop! A little bit of movement. A little bit of movement. Also, you can check and see the range. The velites, you see the little green arrow? It says, yes, I can hit that, I can hit that. As you move away from them, it turns red, and that is the end of their range. So that you can see right there, that's the line that the troops would have to cross in order to actually get hit. So, the hoplites have become, are in their phalanx position. They're facing the wrong direction. They seem a little bit confused. But at least now we have these peltasts, and they look like they are trying to approach. As you can see, they probably have the same range. So that is the line. So essentially what I want to do now is I want to convince my guys to back up, stay out of range of these peltasts, and I want to, whoa, hey, don't be throwing stuff at me. I'm outside your range now. Oh, I'm not. Oh my goodness. Wow, they actually were able to hit me. Looks like they got a couple of kills. Wow. Okay, well, let's see if we can convince them to engage with us just a little bit. I'm walking away confidently. I did lose 2 men, apparently. Yeah. Oh, there they are. The poor defenseless souls, right? Let's go ahead and run. And what I'm trying to do is just kind of coax them to approach. I'm going to run away so that I don't get hit by any more else. Basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take as few casualties as possible because I know what's coming up. The Greeks that I'm gonna be hanging out with soon. Guys, I said run. What are you doing? Get with your group. Can't you see there's an army approaching? Oh my goodness. So essentially what I'm trying to do is take as few casualties as I possibly can, and that is that includes actually doing this very, very cautiously. So right now they are going to back up, they're going to draw up once again, and then the Sestati will also be set up and ready to fire at will. And these guys, you guys need to run too. By the way, fire at will means imagine every single one of these guys' name is Will, okay? Fire at them. Very well, very well. I'm gonna leave them on skirmish mode, which means if somebody gets too close, they will run away. And it looks like, looks like they are retreating. The Peltas have decided they don't want to deal with my army. Let's see. Yep, there's the dead people. Oh no, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. Come on. Here, let's just, oh wait, they've turned around. Okay, not quite going according to plan, but let's see if we can maybe get a shot off on this phalanx. The best thing about the phalanxes, by the way, the hoplites, is that they move very slowly. Like, they're very compact, very intense troop, but they move extremely slowly, and that can be used to our advantage. So guys, get a shot off, and you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and draw up these Sestati a little bit more aggressively as well, and I'll move them up too. Yeah, and then move these guys back here in line so they can just run straight in. You guys ready? Oh, and the Peltas are trying to engage. See, that's what happens. That's what I get for, guys, no, don't engage. Do not engage. Guys, get away from the Peltas. Come on, get over here. No, do not engage. I told you guys to be on skirmish mode, you idiots. Why are you doing this? Come on! Guys! Why are you doing this? I told you specifically not to engage, and now they're broken. Oh my goodness. That is a problem. That is a real problem. I cannot believe those Velite. First of all, I kept telling them to back out and they wouldn't, okay? That's just sheer stupidity on their part. But then I also had them, you guys saw it, I had them on skirmish mode, which means if anybody gets too close, then they run away. But no, they decided, it was probably my fault. I got way too close to them. All right, so guys, are you ready? Are you gonna throw your Pila? Yeah? How about do something? How about throw your Pila? Are you guys gonna throw your Pila? Are you guys gonna... do you not understand what fire at will means? My goodness. Alright, fine, then just go for it. Also, I can sound the horn, and maybe... yes, the Velite actually decided to regroup. Let's just set them up right here. They're damaged. We don't want them to take any more... I don't want them to take any more damage. Okay, so guys, this is not going as smoothly as I was hoping for. The Hastati will very, very nicely engage with the Peltas and take them out, but what we really need is for our Equite to get in. So let's actually bring the Equite up into the plaza. That will draw the attention from these hoplites here, and hopefully they'll get confused and stop engaging quite so much. But let's actually get everybody involved, okay? We're gonna save the general unit for when these guys actually decide to turn around, but this is definitely not going according to plan right now. Let's go, guys. Come on. It's all up to you. Essentially what I needed was to pin these guys in, and then I get some cavalry in the back. That is what we need right now. Let's go, guys. Let's go. Come on. And then, once the hoplites turn around, then I'll send in my general unit and we'll take out these hoplites. So here we go. Let's get some BAM, baby! Yeah! And of course, let me see. They're wavering. They're broken. Yes, they're broken. Keep charging. Keep charging. Are the hoplites broken? No, they're steady. Oh my goodness, they're so powerful. Okay, can you guys just get in here? And can I get you guys to maybe charge in from the back? If we can just get these hoplites to break, then job done. Job done. Let's go. Yes, everybody's broken. Everybody's broken, which means they're routing, okay? And routing means they're running away because they don't want to do this anymore. You know what? Stop firing into my own guys.
Enemies show their true virtue. They are not soldiers, only frightened rabbits running from our men.
Okay, so essentially the narrator man has said, you won, but we can either end the battle here, which would do really nothing. We've already won the day, but if I continue to battle, then at this point, we can't take any more casualties. And by the way, we took a lot of casualties. I'm very disappointed in how this has gone. But again, these Velite completely did not do what I told them to do. But now we can hunt them down and potentially gain some experience. And that is very, very valuable indeed. So my leader, ooh, there goes the leader. I like that. And that is a clear victory. Clear victory indeed. Actually, I think this is the last rebel. Let's just go ahead and get everybody engaged there. Yep, everybody's down. I lost 32% and they lost, they're about to lose 100%. It's funny, they say that they've lost 100% of their troops, but there's still one more pell test here. The last guy, the final rebel in our first battle here in Rome Total War. And guys, he's over here. Did you not get the memo that he's right here? There you go. Take him down. Take him out. Take him out. Stab him. Stab him with a stick. Yeah, there you go. Job done.
Rome demands victory from her generals, and this day is clearly our victory.
Yeah, I don't know, Mr. Narrator Man. We lost a lot of men. 200 is a very big loss against such a small army. But again, I'm pretty confident, and if we actually click this, it shows us more statistics. The Velite getting hit by a ton of Pila was a problem. And good, y'all can see everything even with my face cam. So the Velite took 75 casualties. They inflicted 61, so they had a negative turnout there. But because they were getting hit by Pila mostly, they actually healed, while the Hastati, who engaged with the Phalanx, were, you know, stabbed by big long sticks. They actually, none of them were healed up. So essentially what we're saying is all of these men that are laying here, and you can see them all, you know, on this side, they're all laying there. The Velite that actually dropped, not all of them are dead. They were just injured. They had a Velite, or they had a Pila to like the leg or the arm or something, and they just laid there because they're hurting or they're bleeding or whatever, but they weren't quite dead. So we actually healed up 33 of our men. Very terrible, terrible first attack in this campaign, but it'll be all right. It's going to have to be all right. Let's just be honest with you. But there we go. So we have now captured Apollonia. We have three choices. We can either occupy and get 50 denarii. We can enslave the population, which will send 450 men to any city that has a governor, and both my cities do. So that means they would split that 450, 225 to Tarentum, 225 to Croton, and then exterminate the populace, which would be to just completely destroy everybody. We don't want to do that unless we're in a very, like, culturally different city, because the culture actually matters. If you're Roman and you're taking over like an Egyptian city, then obviously the Egyptians won't be happy because they've been conquered by Romans. So if you have a really big Egyptian city or whatever, you want to exterminate that thing because it's a lot easier to keep that city happy as opposed to occupying. But because Apollonia is small, we're just going to occupy the city. Again, we did a terrible job in the battle, but at least now we have been gifted with Apollonia. And that actually reminds me, bam, we have successfully taken the settlement, we got the mission, and we have been gifted 5,000 denarii, which at this point in the game is quite a bit. So, notice there are no buildings here, so I'm going to go ahead and build this governor house. This will make the city very Roman, and that is a good thing. The city population is only 900, guys. That is a tiny, tiny town, but I'm going to bump up the taxes just a little bit. Public order's at 95%, that's fine. And we're going to see this place grow very, very slowly. Now, of course, the idea is to have bigger cities everywhere, like the small cities. If you really do the math here, 2.5% of 900, 1% of 900 is 9. So 2% will be 18. Well, so like 2.5% would be like 21, right? 21, 22. So we're only going to be gaining 22 population per turn here, while if we train troops, and remember, like the peasants are like 240 troops, we'd actually be sucking 240 troops out of the population here. So we can't train any units here until it gets to a reasonable population level. So there's a workaround around that. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. So we've taken Apollonia. Now it is time to send our agents. Yes, so let's actually get this spy. We're going to send him up here. And this, my friends, is the next goal. Now, we're not quite close enough to see the garrison in the city, but Salona will be our next big goal. Notice they've got pots, olive oil. They've got I think that's gold sitting there, but I can't tell because my spy is not close enough yet. Yes, guys, the next goal will be Salona, and it's going to be just amazing because this Salona and then, of course, Segestica, which is up here, make a ton of money. These 4 cities, not necessarily Apollonia. Apollonia didn't make that much money, but these 4 cities, Tarentum, Croton, Salona, and Segestica, will be the very backbone of our Roman economy, and it's going to be just amazing. Look at this. Gold here. Tons and tons of wine. I mean, this is an incredibly valuable set of provinces, and they need to be taken as soon as possible. You know, within reason, of course. So I'm going to move my ships back here. The spy is going up there just to check things out, and then I'm going to send the diplomat, and he's going to just kind of pop out of here and search for the Greeks, which I believe that Termon, I believe, is sitting right here. That is a Greek city, so we'll definitely be looking at that. Also, I gained some retinue. Yeah, so we didn't really talk about retinue, so if I go into the characters list here, a decorated hero. Yes, a clever leader knows how to use the fame and bravery of others to his own advantage. So apparently, one of Amulius's troops did something amazing, and he's actually, like, made him a celebrity in the Empire. So now we have a 20% discount on training units. Essentially, people are more willing to become a troop or a soldier under this man's rule. That's awesome. And retinue can be moved. So if I decide, you know what, you're not really a great commander, I can grab this retinue and send it to another family member, and then the other family member will have the benefits of said retinue. So pretty awesome. It's cool because retinue, they're humans, right? You can just say, hey, you want to hold on to my decorated hero? I'm about to go, to the bathroom for a few days. There you go. There it is right there. Sweet. So we got that. And so there we go. We're building the governor's house in Apollonia. Let's actually do a little bit of maintaining of our empire here. So obviously we need a higher tax rate. We got to keep the public order above 100%, or you can kind of veer up into the 80s, but I like to stay over 100 if I possibly can. Obviously, higher tax rate gives you more money, but it decreases the population growth, and I like to have a better population growth. If I go back into the settlement details, here is where you make your decisions. First, you could talk about trade income. So like if I wanted to put in paved roads, our trade is currently 437, but that faded out one is what it will be once that building is done being built. And it goes from 437 to 604. That is a huge trade increase just with building paved roads, because would you believe Tarentum is very connected by roads. It's connected to the port, it's connected to Croton. If you look at the map, it's also connected to Capua, it's connected to Ariminum. I mean, there's just a lot of road trade that can be made, while in Croton, if you do the same thing with the paved roads, you go from 91 to 139. Not so much gains because it is only connected to, well, its own port, which it doesn't even have a port, but the trade from roads is actually only to Tarentum. So I love the detail that Rome Total War gave by looking at all that stuff. That is just awesome. So back to Tarentum, we need to make a decision on what we're going to build. I think actually the backbone of our military is the Hastati, and if you build the militia barracks, then you can train Hastati. I don't have a way to train Hastati right now, so that should be the #1 priority right now. We have to have at least a semi-decent military. Actually, we have to have a great military, let's just be honest. As far as Croton is concerned, we do have silver here, which means I could buy or build some mines. Mines give a flat 200 denarii per turn, denarii being the currency, and it costs, how much does it cost? 2,000 denarii to build those. So in 10 turns, those mines are going to be turning out a profit, which is amazing. But there's something even more important right now that we need to build, and that is a port. Yes, a port. So trade goes from 91 to 223. And this is just the beginning, because there's a lot of cities around here that don't have ports. So like Syracuse doesn't have a port. We don't have trade with them either. Messana doesn't have a port. But once they do, we can start trading together. So the potential of income in a port city is actually very, very high. Something to consider. So we're going to build a port in Croton. We're going to build the militia barracks in Tarentum. And by the way, that also reminds me, I want to train a unit of Equite, because as I've mentioned before, we have allies and we need to look at them. We need to keep an eye on them. We want to help them if we can. There's a really, really great reason for that. I will explain that in the next turn. So, and also here, I guess I'll train up a unit, a diplomat. Notice, by the way, 4299. If you take that diplomat out, it becomes 4,300. So literally, because you're training up a unit of one thing, a diplomat, then it's taking that one away. Basically, you're walking around the city and you're going, hey, are you a diplomat? Are you diplomatic? And then they end up hiring the most diplomatic civilian of the city, which I think is just super, super cool. So, well, we're going to have diplomat there. We're going to have a unit of equite here. We have the rest of this army, which can't move. They do have limited points, by the way. Every single turn, they can only go so far. These units will jump up into Apollonia next time and then work their way up. Also, let me just take a look at something right quick. I want to look at mercenaries, because would you believe Greece has really great mercenaries? The mercenary hoplites would have definitely helped us in that battle. That's probably a lot of the reason why I didn't do that well in that battle, because I didn't have these. But mercenary hoplites are awesome. 8 attack, they have the phalanx, so they're very effective if they're used correctly. 3 charge, they don't charge that well, but they have a 17 defense. That's better than my Hastati. They're expensive, but I definitely don't. I think that they're worth it, basically. So we got the Hastati. Now let's come on back in. And each province has mercenaries, their own very, very interesting mercenaries. So in Greece, you get the Greek hoplites. You also get the Cretan archers and the, what were the other ones called? I don't know, different type of peltasts. But the region of Greece and some in like modern day Turkey, that's really the only places where the mercenaries are good. Like if you're up here in the barbarian areas, the barbarian mercenaries are terrible. If you're down in northern Africa, these mercenaries are terrible as well. Like even in Italy, the mercenaries are bad. The mercenaries in Greece are actually good, and if you can find them, you should definitely take advantage of them. So, man, this has been the first turn. We have not ended the turn yet. This has been the most explainy turn ever, but it won't be like that again. I think that we have pretty much covered all the basics. We'll be obviously touching on things as we go, but I apologize this took so long to get through, but now that we've kind of explained the basics, it shouldn't be that hard again. So I'm going to go and end the turn, and you'll notice that it goes from summer to winter. Look at the, I don't know, look up here, because you're going to see something change. Also, we get to watch the opponents, and wow, that was fast. Okay. Senate mission has been assigned. They want me to get a trade agreement with Macedon. Okay. That's cool. I'll be given priority for an appointment to an office. All right, that's for the Senate. That's cool. So basically, what I was going to do anyway, I want trade agreements with the Macedonians. I want trade agreement with the Greeks. So that was something I was going to do anyway. I will accept that, no problem whatsoever. So first things first, let's grab this unit of equite, and ooh, we already have rebels. Okay, so Captain Philippos is leading this rebel army. It's actually quite competent. If you look at the amount of darkness in the banner here, that's actually a fairly decent sized army in comparison to the usual army at this stage of the game. I don't have eyes on it yet, but apparently somebody is mad at me because rebels have popped up. And actually, if you look at where they're standing, ooh, they're not quite on the road. I think they may actually, it may count as being on the road, but if they're standing on the road, then they pillage all the trade on that road. So the trade in Tarentum is being limited if they're standing on the road. I think that they're a little bit off, but the trade in Tarentum is being limited because these rebels are pillaging all the trade going to Capua and Ariminum. That is a problem, and we're going to need to handle it very, very soon. But in the meantime, and actually I've got the general to handle that. Huh. Well, I do have this diplomat here, so let's go up and let's just stand next to him, and we may be able to get a little bit more information. Yeah, so it looks like we have equite. Maybe we can, I don't have a lot of money right now, but I'm curious about if I was to buy this, what would actually happen. Because you can actually go and you can trade, or I'm sorry, you can actually go in and bribe them. So the following number of units will join your faction for the number of units that will disband is 1. So apparently there's 1 unit in this army. Can I select it to see? I can't. So 1 unit in this army that is actually Roman, and I could actually use them in my, or one of them isn't, the other 4 are. So let's just see. Our honor and friendship are not cheap goods in a market even for your gold. Okay, so that basically means that you can't afford us. I get it, because I don't have a lot of money anyway. So I need to get rid of them, but as of right now, let me just look at something right quick. Remember, we just looked at the trade. Trade is 350. That's not quite as high as I was expecting. If I click this show trade, land trade, Ariminum, Capua, Croton, it looks like we're showing income, so maybe they're not quite influencing my income just yet, but they probably will soon, so we need to keep an eye on them. But for now, let's just get this unit of equite heading north to help the Julii. And again, I'll talk a lot more about that here soon. So let's actually merge this unit of Astadi in with Aulus Brutus, hop onto the boat, and then we're going to disembark right. Let's just disembark right here just so that we can maybe cross over our units here. Let's also grab this unit to spy, move it up into Salona. And do we have information? Okay, so Salona, interesting. So a unit of hoplites, same as Apollonia. A unit of Cilician pirates, which they're pretty good actually. 11-14, great attack, missile damage, so they do throw the sticks, but they also have a really bad defense. So as long as you can get them within direct fire, some projectiles, some archers or something, then they're done. That's awesome. And then, of course, we're at the Illyrian mercenaries, which are significantly better, actually, than Peltasts. 10, 8, or 8, 10, and 9. So they're fairly competent in fighting. So if we want to take out Salona, we're going to have to be pretty well prepared, all things considered. So, I guess the question needs to be... Oh, and we can actually finish up our mission with the Senate right now. So let's actually... What's up, guys? We don't want an alliance, but we would like trade rights, and would you be interested in exchanging map information? Nice. All right. So now we can kind of see what they have on the map, a little mini map here. Actually, if I zoom in, boom, you can see that just a little bit better. So right now it looks like they have Bylazora. They have, I don't want to say that's just called Macedon. I don't know. If I right click, it shows me the name Macedonia right there. We also have Thessalonica right there. We have Peloponnesus. I don't think that's Peloponnesus. I don't know what that place is called. I don't know exactly the cities. We'll get them as we go. But now I can see which cities that they own. I don't like the mini-map like that. I like it better like that. Okay. So also, and this is an interesting thing. I think it's a bug in the game, but it was never fixed. So apparently, maybe it was on purpose. But actually, if, like, say, the Thracians came over and took this city from the Macedonians, it would still say Macedon over here because I don't have the updated map unless I actually had like a spy over here looking at what was going on. But if you right click, it would actually show that the Thracians own the land now. So we can actually, now that we have traded for trade rights for these cities, now we have a permanent fix on who actually owns it, as long as we take the time to right click and take a gander at who owns the city, which is pretty awesome. Also, looks like I have eyes on this city as well, probably because the Macedonians also, they can see them. Interesting. So they can see this. So now we can. That's cool. All right. So that is done. And what did we get for that? We got the Senate will pay particular attention to your faction for a Senate office. Great. I wanted money, but that's fine. All right. In the recruitment report, in this construction report, intern report, I made a profit of 2,635 denarii during that turn. Actually, wait. Treasury dropped. I got a negative. I actually lost money that time somehow. Interesting. Anyway, so the math works out somehow. So, next goal. Of course, now we should probably start heading down to the south. And, oh, looks like we have found an army of the Greeks. Captain Dinomides. Oh, yes, Dinomides. Would you believe that the Greeks heard about the Romans popping up on their land and they wanted to come investigate? So I'm actually going to come around here. Maybe I can get around and have a chat with the city. Actually, I could probably just talk to them and get some information, but I want to just kind of hang out. I want to actually get eyes on the city just so that we can see whether armies are coming or not. And that is really a big part of the strategy of this game, is paying attention to every small detail. Do you see a massive army approaching you? Do you have the army ready? Do you have the infrastructure in your homeland to be able to pump out troops if you need to? Are you already prepared? All those things really, really matter, and we want to make sure we keep our eyes open. So, Apollonia has some hoplites. I definitely want them to go into this army. Obviously, we're not going to make it to Salona this turn, but we're going to do our best to take over Salona, and that's a significantly better army. So, here's what I'm thinking. Let's put the Equite in here, too, because we do want 2 units of cavalry. I do want the Velite as well for the projectiles, and I guess I can repair that unit, and then we can take in, put there. There we go. So we have a pretty large army that has left Apollonia largely unprepared, or not prepared at all, which is terrible. But you know what? We should probably build some walls while we're here. Yeah, we should build some walls. Our culture penalty is gone now because we've turned this into a good right Roman city. That's great. But they're still under arrest because they just got conquered. And I've got the taxes kind of high right now, but I need the income, so that's fine. So we're going to build the wooden palisade in case the Greeks get any ideas. Hopefully the Senate doesn't want us to attack the Greeks next turn, because they will do that. That's something that they do. So I think this army is ready to go. These Veletae are damaged, but not too bad. And I don't think the Equitae... Oh, the Equitae are exactly 100 troops. Okay. So this guy's going to make his way north. He'll actually build a watchtower at the top, and he's going to start marching toward Salona. So that leaves this very underguarded, which is a problem. Nothing really I can do about it right now. Hopefully, and I don't like leaving. Actually, man, I should probably have left at least one more unit to guard Apollonia. I just feel like I've probably left myself very underguarded right now. Let's take the damaged unit of Veletae, and they'll start heading that direction. Hopefully nobody bribes me. But by the way, the smaller the army, and the fact that there is no actual general means that he's even more bribable. But I don't think the Macedonians have the money just yet. Nobody at this stage of the game actually has a whole pile of money sitting around somewhere. So the port has one more city to, or one more turn to go. So they're done. They're good. We also have, let's see, we have the Veletae here. And should I do one more diplomat? I do want to get another unit of Equitae, actually. So they're good. We have 2 more turns until the military or the militia barracks are done. And then Apollonia is building a wall. So, I think that we've had a pretty good start so far, guys. Don't worry, I will explain everything about the Equitae heading up toward the Romans Julii. And by the way, the Julii have already taken Segesta. There was no real way to stop that, by the way. Segesta is basically their Apollonia, where the game kind of just gifts them another village. Meanwhile, the Scipio, they're not gifted nothing. They have to either deal with a large a large Greek city, or a large Carthaginian city, which we don't even have eyes on. So that... yeah, I feel bad for the Scipio, but they'll probably be just fine, I'm assuming. Also, let me see, the spy. There's no point sending the spy into this town, because if you send a spy into the town, first, it tells you information about the town, whether or not, you know, what its population's at, if it's in unrest or not, whether it has the plague, which is a very scary thing, or it'll open the gates. He'll actually be able to open the gates, depending on his level, and he's actually a pretty decent spy, 4 out of 10. So, and he's an expert spy, basically just a good natural spy at the age of 23. Really, really great. But because there's no gates, there's no walls, there's no sense in leaving him here, so we'll probably start heading up toward Segestica later on. So guys, I think that's gonna have to do it for me today in this episode of Rome Total War. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be up to a lot more next time, of course, marching up to Salona, developing Apollonia, moving population, which I'll get into later, going and helping the Romans Julii. Once again, I will help the Julii, and obviously I want to help the Scipio as well. I'll explain all of that next time. And of course, we need to continue developing our economic heartland, because as you probably have guessed, money is what it's about in this game, and money is absolutely necessary to be successful. Actually, you know what? Let's end the turn right quick and see what the Greeks decide to do, because I'm just genuinely curious. Ooh, looks like the Senate wants me to take Termon, which is a Greek city. Yeah, so I'm not gonna listen to that. I don't want to do that. By the way, guys, would you guys like trade rights and map information? Would you guys like to trade? Yes. Awesome. So now we have eyes on the Greeks. We'll talk more about that next time. But no, the Senate wants me to take the Greeks, but I think that jumping straight into a war with the Greeks before we have an established economic base would be a very bad idea. So we're just going to move those guys into there. We're going to, let's build the watchtower right there. And by the way, this is something that you can build. It gives you a permanent view of wherever it's sitting next to. You could also build a fort, but you really don't want to do that unless you're like seeing a ton of troops and they're coming and they're going to kill you. So you want to build that, especially if you're in like a mountain pass or something. So there's the watchtower, and now let's move our way up to, let's just see the shortest distance over there. So yeah, so Aulus Brutus on his way to Salona. Meanwhile, let's start getting, I believe it's this direction, so I'm going to send a spy that direction to check out the other city. Salona will fall next time. All these troops are moving, and I've also got these Equitae. We're going to move them into here and start sending them down south to help the Scipio. So, we'll get into all the buildings and stuff next time. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like this video if you liked it, and obviously hit that subscribe button if you haven't already for daily gaming videos. And of course, be looking forward to the strategy series. Rome Total War is such a great game. I love the attention to detail, and it is just a good brain teaser. Strategy is so much fun, and we're going to have an absolute blast as we expand out. We're going to be taking Greece and Turkey and getting down and having a chat with Egypt and taking over all their lands. Oh, it is going to be an absolute blast. But of course, as the title suggests, the beginning or the journey of a lifetime begins with the first step. Remember, guys, that I love each and every one of you, and I will see you all again next time.